Madam Speaker, I rise today to talk once again about Puerto Rico, but this time it's a little different. I rise to note that Governor Luis Fortuño of Puerto Rico has actually said something I can agree with. Speaking about a proposed gas pipeline, the Republican governor of Puerto Rico said, "We cannot continue to depend on fossil fuels. Gasoducto is fossil fuels." He went on to say, "Tying us down to natural gas for 30 years would be a grave mistake." He was referring to the construction of a natural gas pipeline on an island where beautiful beaches, mountains, and rainforests are both irreplaceable natural resources and part of the economic engine that drives tourism. A gas pipeline that sounds like a dubious proposition. And I agree. Mr. Fortuño spoke those words 2 years ago as a candidate. Sadly, now that he's safely in office, Governor Fortuño has changed his mind. Now he enthusiastically supports not just gas pipelines, but a much bigger, more environmentally disruptive, and more expensive pipeline. And how the construction of this gigantic, supersized pipeline is being handled is another reason I must speak out again on the civil rights crisis in Puerto Rico. The ruling party would rather people not notice that Mr. Fortuño and Governor Fortuño have opposite positions on the same gas pipeline. And so they are working hard to move this project forward under the cover of night. Every day the ruling party answers this question. If you wanted to undertake a potentially dangerous, economically dubious, environmentally disastrous, and extremely unpopular project, how would you go about doing it? Here's the ruling party's answer. You circumvent feasibility studies, you avoid environmental impact studies, you ignore the standard permitting and licensing procedures, and you take every step possible to eliminate public hearings and public scrutiny. But how do you proceed without these necessary safeguards and information? Well, if you're the government of Puerto Rico and you want to build a 92-mile natural gas pipeline over mountains and through forests and lakes and rivers and across critical groundwater systems in Puerto Rico, you would amend the law designed to deal with natural resources so that you can bypass the normal permitting and public process. What the ruling party does is declare an energy emergency on the island. This government's energy emergency allows the pipeline to proceed despite warnings from the Sierra Club, the environmental group Casa Pueblo, and even the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Despite residents' concerns that it would be constructed near schools and churches and residential area, despite geologists noting that it is near earthquake faults and that there have been 2,500 seismic events in the last 3 years on the island, and one just felt all over the island just 2 days ago. The self-described energy emergency also helps hide the fact that you've given a $10 million contract to a pal of the governor who's no experience at constructing gas pipelines. He does, however, have experience skiing with the governor. And maybe that's why you run a slick taxpayer-funded PR campaign that renames the Via Verde, the Greenway. So instead of speaking to huge financial, human, and environmental costs, this Orwellian ad campaign calls a gas pipeline over mountains and through the woods and rivers a greenway. Like a lot of people, I think it would be better to be named just Green Away, a magical cleanser that you apply to your forests and rivers and lakes, and it makes them go away, along with the millions of green tax dollars. Here's an even more honest name for this project, the Wrong Way, because it's wrong to spend the people's money on a project they don't want, hasn't been appropriately studied, and as the newspaper El Nuevo Dia has shown in a series of reports. Candidate Fortuño was right. Governor Fortuño is wrong. It's time to shine some light on this matter. I have asked and sent Freedom of Information Act requests to every and all federal agencies that have addressed the pipeline in Puerto Rico. I will release the results so that the people know who their government is meeting with, what documents exist, and what studies have been done to show the need for this project. Furthermore, I have already urged the Army Corps of Engineers to deny permit requests for pipeline until experts testify, permits are applied for, community meetings are held, and environmental impact studies are done. Maybe the government can make the case for this project in the light of day. But they shouldn't be asking for a verdict without presenting their facts to the people first. It's time they stop doing things the Via Verde way and start doing things the right way. El 1 de mayo, todos adjuntas. Gracias.